Okay, and again, you should also have a protractor. The protractor is just for a straight edge. Okay, you could use a ruler too. We're just using it so we can make a straight line. So on Friday, we went over how to construct a perpendicular bisector with a compass. Not a compass, with a protractor. So that was counting, finding the midpoint, and then using that 90-degree angle on your protractor. Today we're going to construct them with a compass. Okay, these are a little bit more exact. You don't have to count, you just have to draw little partial circles. Okay, so the first one we're going to go over is perpendicular bisectors. I'm going to highlight it. Okay, so we are going over perpendicular bisectors. Now we're going to find this perpendicular bisector of this segment here. So I'm going to label this segment A, B. Now with your compass, you're going to put, doesn't matter which point you start with, I'm going to start with B so it's a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. You're going to put your compass on point B. Now when you're making this partial circle, you need to make sure that this is wide enough where it goes past the midpoint of that segment. Okay, so if it's too small, so if it's like this, that is not past the midpoint of that segment. So it needs to be wide enough where it's greater than that midpoint. Okay, and it doesn't have to be exactly the midpoint. Don't try and make it exactly the midpoint, just greater than it. So I do hold mine down here. You don't have to. You can hold it at the top. I just find it's a little bit easier to control if I hold down towards the base. So you're going to make a partial arch mark right here at the top of your segment. Okay, so just not the whole circle, just has to be a small dash line there. Okay, you're going to do the same thing to the bottom part of your segment. Okay, so swing down. Same thing to the bottom, right here. Now, you do want to keep it the same distance, so do not change that distance. Okay, keep this the same distance apart. Okay, so we have one on the top and one on the bottom of that segment. We're going to do the same thing from point A. Okay, so place your compass on point A now. Again, keeping it that same distance. Don't change it since we used point B. You're going to make that arch on the top again with your compass and on the bottom. Okay, so you should have an intersection point below your segment and above your segment. Now with those intersection points, okay, so here's my intersection point below the segment. Here's my intersection point above the segment. All you have to do is take your straight edge and connect them. That is a perpendicular bisector of that segment. Okay, so it is perpendicular to the segment, and it does hit at that midpoint there. So it does split that segment in half. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. So over here, again, I have these endpoints. So we have A and B. Make sure your compass is greater than half. Okay, compass is greater than half. So I can even make mine a little bit smaller here. Greater than half. You need it to make a dash above the segment and below the segment. And again, I do find it's easier to rotate with my fingers towards the base of the compass. If you do like to use it from the top and spin it, that's fine. You'll just see me do it this way instead. Okay, same thing from point A then. Okay, place your compass on point A. We need to make a segment below or dash below so that they intersect, and a dash above. And they don't have to be huge. You don't need to draw in the whole circle. You just need to make sure that they intersect. Now, if your two dash marks above or below don't intersect, that means your compass wasn't greater than half. Okay? You have to make sure it's greater than that halfway point. Otherwise, they will not intersect. Okay, so from here, all I have to do is connect those intersection points with the straight edge.
So as long as they intersect at some point,
Yes.
like it doesn't matter.
How wide? Okay, so that would be the perpendicular bisector. Splitting it in half. Yep. Is there another one in there?
I think there are one.
So, Audrey, why don't you give Hannah your pencil out of your buddy?
What? Because my hands are kind of flat. What would you mean, like?
All right. Okay, any more questions on those two segments there? All right, then what we're going to do is the same thing, just with the triangle on the bottom. So you have to draw in 3 perpendicular bisectors instead of just 1. Okay, so you're doing the same thing just for each segment of that triangle. Okay, so if it helps, label each of the vertices. Okay, so you have point A, B, and C. Okay, so just start with one of the segments of that triangle. Find its perpendicular bisector, connect their intersections. Then move to the next segment of that triangle. Okay, so you're doing 3 of them. So I want you to practice, and then I'll draw it in for you. Okay, just do your best with the compass. Yep. Yeah. It also helps to spin your paper. Instead of spinning with your hand, you can just spin your paper to draw it into. Yeah.
There you go.
Wait,
Yes.
you have to do it like how
Because
then they
you
call it that.
want it above or below.
My home course is 7. So I'm going to do it here and here. I don't understand. I did.
So it's
I don't know.
So you had
I know, mine went into the other one too.
Are you supposed to?
I don't know, it has to be, this is a thing.
Lira, you finagle it too?
What?
You finagle it? I ended with like a radioactive.
Hey,
It's one.
Oh, that's hot.
that looks pretty cool. Sebastian, what are you doing?
I don't know. What do you mean? What am I doing?
I did not see that.
You didn't do the bottom.
I'm doing it by myself.
And one on the outside.
There. Something like that. Kind of looks like a fish. Ron, can
You already have one?
I redid it. This is all I got so far.
Brian, did I do this right?
I'll kind of look that with How much is supposed to look like that, is it?
I really don't know. Can you make sure that it's greater than?
Oh, just here. Oh, you're supposed to do it.
Now it makes like a little, like, I want
I don't want to read it. I heard that. She's
I was supposed to sure about this one. Kind of looks like I just like a horse.
Yeah, you know.
Your problem. You're the one shooting. It's not as loud. There. It's still loud. Oh, it's got super loud. Smash this one I got.
Smash this one I got.
I know what you I know. Satanic. Yeah, I know what I
Got it.
Why? Oh, I do this good.
Would it take an hour for something? No.
I know. Kind of looks like it.
You did wait.
I don't know what I'm
Before we're talking.
I don't have another pencil.
You should carry. You should carry. Huh? No, you should carry. I should. I know. Why are you gonna hurt? How looks like Lucy, do me. This is our no, like, hey, kind of looks like a drawing.
So you should have, or should be trying to get all three of those segments drawn in. Most people are pretty much there.
I think we all know that.
They put a stem of a cherry. You ran into that stem.
All right, so again, I'm going to explain it as I go through each one. So quiet, please. So from point B, if I'm trying to find the perpendicular bisector of segment AB, I need to make my mark above that segment, which is on the outside of the triangle, and I need to make one below that segment, so that is on the inside of the triangle. Okay, so I have both there. Now if I'm finding it for AB, that means I need to put my compass on point A as well, above the segment or outside the triangle and inside the triangle. Okay, so I have my two intersection points. and I can connect those with the straight edge here. Now when you do this, I do want you to extend it through the triangle. So I noticed a lot of you didn't do that. That's okay. But extend all the way through. So if you didn't, just take your straight edge and extend your lines all the way through. Don't just hit that middle part of your triangle. Okay? So extend it all the way through. So it hits through both sides of your triangle. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing with segment BC. So I already have my partial dash on the inside of my triangle. So I just need to draw one on the outside. Same thing from point C. Make my dash on the inside. So I have my intersection point right here. And on the outside. Okay, so here are my two intersection points. And again, all I have to do is connect them with the straight edge here. And again, I'm going to extend it through the other side of my triangle.
So is this supposed to be multiple lines? Because I only did one.
You should have three because there's three segments. Okay, next I have segment AC. Shh, guys. Segment AC. So from point C, I have this partial dash inside my triangle and outside. Same thing from point A. We need it on the inside and the outside. Okay, and then I can connect those intersection points. So this one right here and this one out here. So you should always have one on the inside and one on the outside of that triangle. Okay, now with these, like I said before, these are perpendicular bisectors. We talked about on Friday that they should all meet at one point. Okay, they should all meet at one point. That is called the point of concurrency. Okay, and with perpendicular bisectors, it is the circumcenter of your triangle. Okay, and that circumcenter is the center of a circumscribed circle. Okay, with that circle, it goes from your circumcenter or that intersection point to the vertice of your triangle. Okay, so if you make your compass go from that center point to a vertice, you can draw in a circle around your triangle. Okay? So here from the center, I want you to do this. From your center to a vertice. If it helps, move your paper instead of your compass. You can, you don't have to. It should hit each of your vertices as you make your circle all the way around.
Oh, she hit vertice one. Oh, she hit vertice two. Oh, she hit vertice two. Oh,
This looks like a satanic ritual.
okay.
It's not.
It kind of is. It looks like it. That's a good spirit.
It's just like all like
So this is why your segments from that circumcenter to your vertice are congruent. Okay, so from your circumcenter to that vertice, those are congruent segments. Put your compass, the pointed part, on the center, and then make it so it hits an angle or your vertice. Did you guys get the circle to go and hit each vertice? Close enough? All right, now quiet for me, please. So we're going to now move on to angle bisectors. Okay, so angle bisectors are on the back. That's why I said don't push so hard.
Oh, I just got the paper.
Okay, so for each of these, I have an angle. So on Friday, again, we used the protractor. Today, we're going to use the compass. So you need a vertice point on your angle. Okay, I'm going to call it point A. Now, with your compass, it does not matter how wide it is. It can be really small. Okay, it doesn't matter how wide your compass is. Now, with your compass, you're going to place it on point A. Okay, place it on point A. Nope. This one, it doesn't matter what size it is. So your compass is on point A. You're just going to hit each of the rays of your angle. This is very difficult, so you can see it. Well, no, I'm trying to make it so you can see it in the doc cam. It doesn't matter. So you need to hit both rays of your angle. Okay, so you have to intersect both of those pieces. So on mine here, I intersect at this point and at this point. So now you need to keep your compass that same width. Okay, don't change it.
I literally can't do this.
Guys, focus please. Okay, keep it at the same width. You're going to place your compass on one of the intersection points. And you're going to make a dash across from your angle. So on the inside part right here. Okay, not on the outside. Inside, across from your vertex. Okay, we're going to do the same thing from the other point of intersection. So this one right here, only across from your vertice. There we go.
You're smart.
All right, so your two intersections should make another intersection here. And now all you have to do is connect your vertice to that further intersection point. Yep. So that will bisect your angle. Okay, meaning it splits it into two equal parts. Okay, so these two angles here are congruent to each other. All right, we're going to do it again. Shh, quiet. So here is the vertex of my angle. Again, I'm just going to call it angle A. Doesn't matter how wide your compass is. Place your compass on that vertex. Making your dash so it hits both rays of that angle. Okay, so it should hit both of those rays that make up that angle. From there, keep your compass the same width. Place your compass on one of the intersection points. Make another dash across from the vertice, so inside your angle. Same thing from the other intersection point, inside the angle. Those should intersect. And then you just have to connect from your vertice to that intersection. And again, that is an angle bisector, so those two angles are congruent. Now we're almost done. Now we're going to do the same thing within your triangle. Okay? Now with this, do one angle at a time. Okay? One angle at a time. Do not try and do them all at once. Otherwise, your dashes are going to get confused. So if I start with this angle right here, again, I'm just going to label it angle A. Do the same process we just did. Compass goes on that vertex. Hit both rays of that angle. Okay, find those intersection points. Make your next dashes inside the triangle from that intersection point. Inside the triangle. Okay, and then move to the second intersection point. Make your next dash inside the triangle. Now before you move to the next angle, you need to connect that with your straight edge. Otherwise you're going to get lost. And you need to connect it all the way through to the opposite side. Okay, don't just hit the intersection. All the way through the opposite side of that triangle. Okay, do it for the other two angles. Other two angles.
Your first down. No, you. This is the first one.
Are you 6?
So again, make sure your rays go all the way through the opposite side. So make sure they go through the opposite side. And again, they should.
That doesn't matter.
They should all connect at one point.
Mine do not.
Give me the lines. For which one? The lines.
You V6 then?
I don't know.
What size of one
You didn't.
I'm gonna. Matt,
No, I'm just gonna do it.
What did you do to my eraser?
Give it back.
Use it and give it back.
You got it.
Give it back. You tell him to give me my eraser back.
Oh, I don't like when people take things from you.
What?
It's in the shape of.
Oh my god.
Hey, yo.
Alright, so we're gonna practice this a little bit more tomorrow. You don't have any homework. Put the compass and the protractor back in the box before you leave, please. Do not leave them on your desk. Put the compass and protractor in the boxes.
Do I have to finish that? I got it. No,